best of Sacramento?
The culture and the fact that here in the Central Valley, being that Sacramento sits in the Central Valley, it has the ability to produce a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and those fruits and vegetables are quite enjoyable.
And what makes Sacramento's culture stand out the most as opposed to Montana's culture?
Maybe the diversity of individuals in the community. You have such a diverse group of individuals. I mean, I could look around my shoulder, I could walk around the block, and I'd probably see 4 to 5 different ethnicities, and probably hear 2 to 3 different languages. Within my walk home, Montana's very white European. There's not a lot of there's Native Americans, but other than that, there's not a lot of diversity in the state.
And what's the worst about Sacramento?
The homeless people, the transient population. Once again, you're not going to fault them, or I'm personally not going to fault them and say that they're the worst or that they're awful, but it'd be nice if they had an outlet or a resource in which they could potentially seek help rather than continue to live amongst our street corners.
So what brought you all the way from Montana?
Title 24, their energy regulations or energy efficient regulations for buildings and infrastructure.
So you're an engineer, or?
My girlfriend's an engineer. I am an energy auditor, so I look at buildings as a whole, and then kind of am a liaison in between engineers and people who are trying to get stuff done within their building.
And how do an energy consumption differs from Montana here in California?
Oh, well, it's going to be 105 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. In Montana, it'll be 80 degrees at the most, 90 degrees at the most. At the same time, you have about 6 months of winter. And here in California, winter is the green months, or the rain months, water.
So like AC consumption is a lot?
There's
higher?
actually not a lot of ACs in Montana. People don't have a lot of air conditioners. Consumption is 2 to 3 months at the most. Really 2 months that you'd actually have a need for an air conditioner.
What made you go into your work?
Yeah, the planet. I thought it would be, so I went to college for an exercise physiology degree. I got a couple other degrees as well. But when I left college and went into this, I chose this for the reason of the planet and making a substantial impact on moving forward. Hopefully making an impact on consumption in the sense of global, or in the sense of CO2 emissions.
And what's one small thing that we could all do to not hurt the planet as much?
Use less plastic. I mean, in a sense, plastic is petroleum. So if I were to say overall use less petroleum, cars are consuming a lot of petroleum. Plastic is made of petroleum. If you reduce something of that magnitude, you probably have a significant impact on people's mentality, which would then influence them to make a bigger decision, bigger decisions.
What would you say to the people that don't want to give up on plastic just because it's cheaper?
Profitability should never outweigh or have more value than sustainability. And not just sustainability in the sense of the planet's ability to sustain life, but sustainability in the sense of the way that we think growth and development could be toned back or pulled back a little bit, and enjoy what we currently have, because without enjoying or appreciating what we currently have, we're actually, in a sense, destroying what we currently have. And the only thing that we currently possess in the sense of an environment to live in is slowly but surely not being able to sustain or provide for us. So money and profitability shouldn't take precedence over life.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the dynamics work. Everything is pushed for profitability, growth, demands, which is okay because look at where we're at as a species, and we wouldn't be there if we didn't have that desire. But like a good example would be the opioid epidemic and the OxyContin epidemic. You shouldn't press so hard for profits when you know what you're pressing or pushing has the capabilities of being quite destructive. And then sit there and do the exact opposite and punish people for, in a sense, being a drug dealer and saying what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
But because you do it with a suit and tie, because it's for, it's an organized profit. But these are fundamental things. We could go back to 1920 and say we had this nice camera and we were doing this awesome interview. We'd just probably be referring to the gangs, the mafia, stuff like that. So humans are interesting creatures.
They are.
Very much so.
And aside from environmental issues, what else makes you sad?
That's a great question. No one's really ever asked me that. Not much makes me sad. I think I have a fairly good understanding of how humans operate, how people act. I'm not going to hold anybody guilty. We're all creatures. We do different things. We do outlandish things at times. We do amazing things, loving things, caring things, hurtful things. So other than the environment, not many things upset me or not many things bother me. People are people. We have the environment that we interact with, and we have people that we interact with. Oh, what makes me happy?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Culture, community, nature, activity. Being a part of development within this world.